Hi, this is Shadi, and today we're going to be discussing French Judo. I've been training in France for a number of years now, and I've picked up a thing or two. As you know, French Judo is very high level. They won the first ever Olympic team championship. They're always on the podium. They're always finalists, and today I'm going to talk about a few small elements that are somewhat invisible, but they make a great effect. And today we will be discussing particularly two elements when it comes to the gripping and not so much choice of technique. So the first one is what I like to call the invisible high grip. This grip is either on the collar, on the back of the neck, or on the traps grabbing the jacket, as you see here Teddy Rene is doing. This isn't your Russian arm where you are looking for closeness like the Russians, or on the clavicle to create distance like the Japanese, but this particular grip is solely made to crumble your opponent, to make them as defenseless as possible and as mentally broken as possible. It's the grip behind the neck which stiffens the shoulders, stiffens the neck, and makes it very hard to address yourself well and have a good posture, so you cannot attack and at the same time you can never defend. Here, this grip, as you see, it is absolutely devastating. Now, if someone is looking from behind and doesn't truly know the value of this grip, they might think it's a Japanese grip, just a little bit higher. However, from my talk with Kotaro Sasaki on my channel, he told us that the Japanese really want that distance, as you are seeing here, because that's where they're comfortable, also being away from their attacks and also being able to enter in for attacks. The French, they do not want to do that. So I'm sure you're familiar with Darcel Yanzi and his foot sweeps, but I want you to take a look at his gripping arm. Here you can see it's either on the shoulder level or on the traps level to really pull someone down, or on the back of the neck, which really stiffens them and makes them very rigid, which in result will make them defenseless and also unable to attack. Let me show you how devastating this grip is. Let's go back to 2001. Kosei Inoue attacking regularly against Elko van der Geest. Look at the size difference. Here you see switches arm on the back of the neck, pulls a little bit, and Van der Geest is not only rigid but also with square feet, almost standing like a white belt. Here he pulls, goes to the back of the neck. Look at Van der Geest's posture, and then the Uchimata is inevitable. This is how devastating this grip is, and barely anyone notices it. So in this Judo Fanatic video, Loic Pietri actually explains the difference between a deep Russian arm and your back of the neck grip. So here this one is deep. He says it's actually very easy to get rid of this one by simply rolling your shoulder to the side and then pulling back, which renders this grip almost useless, while on the other hand the grip on the shoulder, or on the traps, or on the back of the neck is much harder to get rid of. Here you can see he's explaining that if he does the same thing, it will not work. And look at his posture. When your head is hunched down, it's very hard to attack, it's very hard to defend, and mentally you're just absolutely destroyed. So it does have this mental effect. This grip is much more powerful than it looks. So the solution to this is, if you can liberate your sleeve, that's good, but here you go to their blind side as far as possible and you're pushing with your lapel hand, and then you circle around, which alleviates a little bit of the effect of this grip. You don't get rid of it fully. If you're strong you can, but you can alleviate a lot of its effect if you just push away, circle to their blind side, which will lessen the effect of the grip, and then you circle again to face them, which will put you in a more comfortable position. Here you see he goes to the blind side, pushes, and then addresses his posture and goes back to the front of his opponent. This isn't your Russian arm. This is much harder to get rid of. The next one is your sleeve control against same stance opponent. Sarah Leonie Sizik against Yoshida is a great example of this. She knows that Yoshida is a left-handed Uchimata fighter. She goes for the sleeve, keeps it. Yoshida is trying to retrieve back in panic, which gave Sara more momentum to attack with O Sotogari. This is your classical Lucy Decos tactic against same stance opponent. Control the sleeve and also push it towards them because they already have that urge to pull it back. So you push it towards them, and as they are pulling, also they themselves, they will give you momentum for this O Sotogari. So sleeve control can also, especially on the dominant hand, like Yoshida is left-handed, she had her left sleeve controlled, which put her in a sheer panic. So again, like this, the grip on the back of the neck and this one, it will really create a bad mental state for the opponent. You are not looking for closeness or distance, you are just looking to crumble the opponent as much as possible. Now, the solution to this particular sleeve control is to do like Jan did, which actually baits them into gripping his sleeve and makes them think that they're in control of his dominant hand. This is left versus left. He does like a Uchimata Makikomi, looks like a Sode Tsurikomi Goshi with the hands, but because he invites them to control his sleeve, so as you are pulling back, you rotate, you bring them towards you, because keep in mind, Lucy was also pushing the sleeve towards the opponent, so all the more momentum that you can use to rotate and then shoot your leg up. And since Yoshida is an Uchimata specialist, that's what she should have done. They met again at the finals of the team championship in Tokyo, and again she controlled her sleeve. There's no footage on YouTube here, but she did the same thing and it also worked. Not as fast like in Tokyo, but still it worked. So this is Jun here from Korea. He's giving you the illusion of having his dominant hand controlled, so he can use it as a mind game to rotate and hit you with his Uchimata. This is a brilliant Uchimata Makikomi, by the way. I've watched this footage I don't know how many times. So solutions to the stuff that the French would go to are actually very difficult. So if you're not an Uchimata fighter, you cannot do this, but this is a solution that I'm providing here. And also the gripping on the back of the neck, which really compromises your posture, makes you rigid, defenseless, and unable to attack. So one last thing that I want to talk about is choice of technique. Now, when we talk about a particular expression of Judo for a country like the Japanese with their Uchimata, the Koreans with their Seoinage, the Georgians with their Makikomi and Uranage, the French, there's really not one technique that are just absolutely famous for it. Now you can see a variety of choice of techniques, like Alex Idir with his Seoinage, Teddy Rene, his big ashiwazas like Uchimata, Osotogari, O Uchigari, and Loic Pietri also with Seoinage. So there's really not a specialty of technique that they actually go for like other countries that you would see. Now, from my experience, training, competing, going to the national center, playing against first division judokas, I would say the technique that I had to defend against the most would be drop Seoinage. But again, so many people from all around the world, they do drop Seoinage. So it's not, again, a French specialty. So if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. I have exclusive content for the patrons only, and your support would mean greatly. So also don't forget to check out Josh Simon's shop in the description below. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.